Chinua Achebe's short story, Marriage is a Private Affair, is a powerful exploration of love, tradition, generational conflict, and cultural change. It highlights the tension between personal choice and community expectations, especially within the context of traditional Nigerian society. The story presents the emotional struggle of a young man, Nnaemeka, who wants to marry for love, and his father, Okiki, who is deeply rooted in traditional customs. The story opens in Lagos, Nigeria's bustling, modern city. Nnaemeka is in love with Nene, a young woman from the Ibibio tribe. She is a teacher and modern in her outlook, just like Nnaemeka. The two are engaged, and Nene is excited to meet Nnaemeka's family. However, Nnaemeka hesitates. He knows that his father, Okiki, a conservative man living in a traditional Igbo village, will not approve of the marriage. Okiki has already arranged for Nnaemeka to marry a local girl from their village, someone he deems culturally appropriate and acceptable. This is based on Igbo tradition, where elders often play a decisive role in arranging marriages, believing that such unions should strengthen family and cultural ties. Nnaemeka, having embraced a more modern and individualistic worldview, rejects this idea. He wants to marry Nene because he loves her, regardless of her tribal background or his father's wishes. Nnaemeka understands that his decision will deeply offend his father, but he believes in his right to choose his own partner. When he writes to Okiki to break the news, he softens the language, hoping to minimize the blow. But Okiki is enraged. He is not only upset that Nnaemeka has defied him, but also that he plans to marry someone outside their ethnic group, and worse, someone who is not from a Christian family background, according to his assumptions. Okiki sends a harsh letter in return, disowning Nnaemeka and refusing to acknowledge the marriage. He insists that Nnaemeka's decision is not only disobedient but spiritually and culturally wrong. He believes the union will bring shame and misfortune upon their family and community. Despite the rejection, Nnaemeka and Nene go ahead with their wedding in Lagos. They live happily, but Nene continues to wish for reconciliation between her husband and his father. She hopes that time will heal the wound and that Okiki will eventually accept their union, especially if they have children. Over the years, Okiki holds firm. He tells his fellow villagers that he has no son and wants nothing to do with Nnaemeka or his heathen wife. His community, however, is less rigid. Some elders begin to question whether Okiki is right to be so unforgiving, especially since he has never met Nene. They suggest that perhaps times are changing, and young people should have more say in whom they marry. Then, a turning point comes when Nene writes to Okiki. In her letter, she explains that she and Nnaemeka have two young sons who would love to meet their grandfather. She does not demand acceptance, but gently appeals to Okiki's emotions, not as a father-in-law, but as a grandfather. The letter has a profound effect on Okiki. He is alone in his home, reflecting on his decision and the years that have passed. Achebe writes that a storm is brewing, both literally and symbolically. As the rain begins to fall, Okiki realizes the depth of what he has lost by cutting off his son. The idea that he might die before seeing his grandsons fills him with deep regret. The story ends with Okiki staring out into the storm, thinking that it was not possible to speak to his grandchildren on the telephone or to hold them in his arms. The emotional weight of his estrangement overwhelms him, and readers are left with the sense that he may finally soften his stance and seek reconciliation. Themes and analysis. Tradition versus modernity. This is the story's central theme. Okiki represents the traditional Igbo worldview, where parents control their children's marriages to preserve social and cultural order. Nnaemeka, by contrast, symbolizes a new generation that values personal freedom, love, and emotional connection. Achebe does not fully condemn either side but presents the conflict as a reflection of a society in transition. Generational conflict. The father-son divide in the story speaks to changing values across generations. Okiki is not simply being stubborn. He believes he is acting in his son's best interest, according to long-standing customs. But his inability to evolve or empathize with Inameka causes pain and isolation. Love and individual choice. Inameka and Nene's marriage is based on mutual respect and affection, a stark contrast to the arranged marriage Okiki had planned. Their relationship shows the potential beauty of modern partnerships, and the story suggests that love, rather than tribal or religious background, should determine compatibility. Reconciliation and regret. The story ends on a hopeful but bittersweet note. Okiki's reflection after reading Nene's letter shows that time and familial bonds can soften even the most hardened hearts. Achebe uses the symbol of the storm to show the emotional turbulence within Okiki as he begins to recognize the cost of his pride and rigidity. Narrative style. Achebe uses a third-person omniscient narrator to present both Inameka's and Okiki's perspectives. This balanced approach ensures that neither character is vilified. Instead, the story becomes a dialogue between two worldviews. Achebe's language is clear, elegant, and restrained, allowing the emotional power of the conflict to emerge through the characters' actions and decisions. Conclusion. Marriage is a Private Affair is a deeply human story about the tension between cultural expectations and personal desires. Through the strained relationship between Inameka and his father, Achebe reflects on how love and modernity challenge long-standing traditions, and how reconciliation is possible when people allow compassion to override pride. The story remains profoundly relevant in many cultures where arranged marriages, inter-ethnic relationships, and generational expectations continue to shape family life. Achebe doesn't offer a simplistic resolution but instead shows that healing and understanding take time and courage.